Ready?
In just a few weeks, I've learned a lot about working with aluminum. How to shape it, how to weld it, and some of its temperaments too. But getting these massive plates to fit perfectly, that's a whole new challenge.
So what is the drama here on this plate?
Well, it's on all the plates actually. Just some plates are worse than others. It's very hard to just expect the plate to just drop into position and then weld it up.
They get pretty close to the hole shape, but it's not 100% exact.
Yeah, can you get it anymore? Yeah, that's it. You spend a lot more time fitting the plate than you do welding it.
Today's episode is all about how to take the hole plates, fit them to the hole, which is actually quite an interesting process. Step one, find the plates. Step two, you gotta clean them. When they're cut with a router, the edges are very sharp, and so I need to go around with the sander and just take off the edges, and then we sand the oxidation layer off. And then we mark them. So like the lines from the router are very faint. And then you wheel it. And then you put it on the hole. But this last step is where things tend to get a little more complicated. And it's quite an intensive process to get them to form, because when you wheel them, they get pretty close to the hole shape, but it's not 100% exact.
Because of the way that the curve comes round, it's very hard to just expect the plate to just drop into position and then weld it up.
But we have a few tricks up our sleeves to get the plates to fit.
You can either use like just a piece of flat bar to pinch, so tack it on the low side, and use a piece of flat bar to pinch the two plates back to the same level.
So there's this kind of method where you use a lot of clamps and then use the chain blocks, the come-alongs, and so we're welding little tabs like kind of inside the boat to put on kind of temporary holding spots. And then you put the chain block in there and you crank it down into place.
Or if it's stubborn, then we use what we call it in Australia like a dog and wedge. So you just weld a big dog on and drive a wedge on the other side, and that'll lift your plates.
Dan's been working on one side, me and Kurt have been working on the other side, and we've also been working on the stern, trying to fit the plates around the skeg for the rudder. And then like the last step is aligning the seams perfectly, so where the two plates come together, you need a tiny little gap. They really can't butt up like this. You have a tiny gap, and then you use like a pry bar that's temporarily welded on to get the plates even up. Up a tiny bit. Oh, too much, right there.
I mean, even though all these plates are supposedly the size, it's always growing and shrinking, so you're always cutting it.
We over-roll this plate a little bit. Was that part of the problem?
A little bit, but it's just that complex curve.
Yeah, it's a complex curve. This one does a curve like this, and it gets narrower this way and this way at the back. So
you spend a lot more time fitting the plate than you do welding it.
It's a lot more involved than I thought it was, but I'm learning quite a bit. We recently had a major shift in our lifestyle, and we went from pretty chill mornings to what I now feel is super hectic. We have to wake up really early to get Sierra ready for school, and I barely have time to throw something together for lunch before we rush out the door. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. And if I don't bring my own lunch, then I end up eating at the frickin' food truck at the yard that sells me a terrible overpriced sandwich, and I always end up regretting it. Well, today's sponsor, Huel, is here to help. Huel is no prep meals that doesn't compromise your health. All you need is some cold water and you have a convenient and nourishing meal in seconds. Huel's ideal for when you're pressured for time, on the go, in a rush, or away from the galley.
What does it taste like?
It's like a chocolate shake. It's really good. Huel comes in a ton of flavors, but my favorite is their Black Edition, which is their low-carb, high-protein powdered meal. It's packed with 40 grams of protein plus 27 essential vitamins and minerals. It's plant-based, gluten-free, and has no artificial sweeteners. In short, for less than a quarter of what I pay for a terrible sandwich at the food truck, I get a high-quality and delicious breakfast or lunch for about $2.50 per meal. Be sure to use the code SVDELOS where you can get 15% off your first Huel order. You also get a free t-shirt and a shaker, which is a $40 value. Once again, that's the code SVDELOS for 15% off. I'll go ahead and pop the link in the description below. Having a busy life shouldn't stop you from eating healthy, so please check out Huel today and support the Delos 2.0 build all at the same time. All right, back to the build. With 28 whole plates to shape and fit, we decided to tackle one of the bigger pieces this morning. All right, so this is a big sheet. This is actually for the front bridge deck of the boat.
The issue we got with this plate is we haven't got any additional material, and we need what we call green material on either side. So that's where we need to start pressing, but we need that much extra material. Otherwise, if we try and just sit the plate through to here, where we need to start pressing, it's just going to fold down into V-block, and that would be somewhere around the 40 mil.
So here I am welding on pieces of flat bar so that we can press right up to the edge of the plate, known in Boilermaker lingo as green. This piece is a little big for our English wheel and better suited to being pressed into shape. So we sent it off to the pressing shop and got it back just a few days later.
So we got the piece back.
Looks pretty good. And then the other pieces are over here. So this is the back, like the back galley, the outside galley, the barbecue area.
So why didn't we do these in our pressing in our English wheel?
You can't really form more than a certain amount on that wheel, right? Because this was done with a press. And so with that wheel, there's no way you could do anything even close to 90 degrees. After taking off the excess green we added, I cleaned up the edges and prepared for this massive plate to be fitted to the front of the boat. And when I was done, she was good as new, and you couldn't even tell.
You can really see
the machine lines in there after we sanded it. But we're just gonna lift it up, put it on the bridge deck, pop it on the front.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom, that's exciting.
Is that our new thing? We gotta go like this too. Boom. Ready?
Why don't you put a bit more weight on top of me legs? Got a stiff one up my bum.
Wouldn't be the only thing you have.
Oh.
Bit rough, isn't it? Is that too short at the bottom?
Nah, it's upside down, Miss Jane.
Well, that's better. How's that look, guys?
Yeah, that's great. Smooth.
Yeah, so generally, kind of the order of operations is you get the plate lined up close in place, and then you place a few tacks because the tacks can be quite easily ground off. So you're gonna weld some lugs on the inside and then
Weld some lugs and pull it down. And then I'll come through and pick the eyes out of it.
yeah. Do you know what that means? Picking the eyes out of it means he's gonna come by and get all the good parts of the job. The cream. What are you two doing in here?
Oh, we're just working out how much gap we got to close that, which we'll get. See, we've got a bit of a gap around the curve there.
This will all be a wet locker. You can see how big it is. It goes all over there to Kurt. Hi, Kurt.
How we going?
Here we going.
All the way over to Kaz. And then there's gonna be big hatches here, so we're gonna put the biggest hatches we can. They're gonna be the Rutgerson 70 by 70 hatches. So this whole area up here can be like dock lines, fenders, jerry jugs, chain, and probably a whole bunch of other shit we'll throw up here. And then all this up here.
These are seats.
This, yes, so these are the
Lounge and
seats.
seats.
This is our chill zone up here.
Oh yeah.
When it flips over.
All right. Well,
All right.
we could sit around here and tell war stories all day, or we could build a boat. What do you reckon?
Let's build a boat. So that's mine and Kurt's project for the rest of the afternoon.
Off, you'll have it done by lunch.
So, with our marching orders from the boss, we got straight to work. And I'm sure by now that you're familiar with the drill. Little by little, we got it perfectly aligned and tacked into place. Kurt and I were steaming along. And then it was time to pick the eyes out of it ourselves. So we moved out of our cramped quarters and into the fresh air up top. Looks pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
It turned out really well. But our excitement quickly waned after Dan showed us something odd.
So I think we have our first pretty expensive mistake.
There's been a number of problems, little things with the plans. I'd call them bugs in the plans. You want to come explain this one, Dan? No? Dan's walking away? Dan's going to go have a beer. I need a beer too. A couple of pieces that have not been there at all. There's been quite a bit actually, but this right now is the biggest one. So this is the piece. This side would be the barbecue grill. And the other side would be where the seating is. And the way the plate was marked backwards. When the metal is CNC cut, there are etchings scribed by the router on each piece that gives us the part number, location, and some useful tidbits like which side of the sheet should be formed, in what direction, and what the radius of the curve should be. Sometimes things get lost in translation between the 3D model and the flat 2D cutting files. In this case, the plate should have been marked to form or bend the other way. So if we installed it as is, we had two choices. We could hang our sweet outside galley right off the back of the boat, or we could flip it around and put it on the port side. Or spend a pile of cash and get a new piece formed up. But luckily, Dan and the boys had a better idea. If anybody can do it, Dan and Kurt can. You reckon? I reckon.
On time. How was today?
It's a real physical job, this one.
You like it though, huh?
Yeah, I do like it. I like physical work. It's nice.
Yeah.
You like it, Dan?
Oh, love it. This is living. This is what we
living.
say is living. Living the dream.
Yeah, good day. And we're making crazy progress too. We got ourselves a date for the flip
Oh.
coming up in about 6 weeks now, huh?
Not quite. Less than 6 weeks.
Less than
now.
6 weeks, 5 weeks and change.
We better pull our finger out.
We'll see you later, Dan.
See you, mate.
See ya.
With a firm date to flip the hull over so we could weld the other side, the pressure was on to finish off the plates. Nice shirt.
You like it?
Must be Friday.
Yeah.
Happy Fun Shirt Friday.
Comes in a men's as well. So this is Mental Health, Funky Shirt Friday we call it. Yeah, I think mental health's pretty important for young men and women. So we just wear these shirts. It's a conversation starter shirt. It's all about initiating a conversation for mental health. So I think it's a great initiative. How are you, mate? Ready for a big day?
Yeah, ready to go today.
Yeah. Let's put some windows in, eh? So we can see what we're doing.
once in place and welded in, these frames will become the windows in our hull. We then diverted our attention to the hull plates once again. But the placement of this one was a little more tricky.
Watch your fingers, Brian. Coming forward. Yep. So we're going to hang a couple of lugs on the boat, right on the right frames. A couple of lugs on the plate on the right frames, and just let it hang in position, and we can tweak it around.
A lot easier with 3 people.
Okay.
Talking to the camera like a normal person does.
Like a normal person does.
Don't you talk to your camera all the time, Dan?
Nah.
No?
That's probably pretty close there.
Can you get it any more? Yep, that's it.
We were pretty good today. Me and Kurt got that, I guess I'll call it a quarter panel. The back welded. What do you say, Corona or Great Northern?
We'll have the Corona.
All right. Not a bad week, huh?
Good week, mate.
Did you get done what we wanted?
I think so, and a little bit.
And a little bit more.
Yep.
That's the way to do it.
Do it all again next week.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers again.
As the weeks of physical labor rolled on, I've come to really appreciate the weekend. Especially good sleeping on Saturday. But that wasn't happening today. And neither was any laundry. You see the water coming down here? I think it's leaking out of this fitting right here. We can fix that though, huh? If we can fix a boat, we can fix a house. Do you want to go to Bunnings with me? You ready? We're going on a daddy-daughter mission. Playground, hardware store. Oh, good one. Did you do it already? Yeah! You want to do it again? Yeah! Okay, do it again. And just like that, the weekend flew by. And it was Monday again. And we were up early on this cold winter's morning. Kurt's making fun of me for being cold, but he doesn't realize that we're normally like
In bikini.
38, yeah, in bikinis, like 38 degrees, not 8 degrees or whatever it is in the frozen Australian winter down here. Should we do the outside of over there?
Yep, we got to
Because that one's a pain in the ass to roll?
Yep,
Or should we do the keel plates, which are small and fun?
No, we've got a list.
Dan left us with a list.
Yep, we got a list. So we can't pick the eyes out of it.
Oh, right. With Dan's list in our crosshairs, we jump back on the old faithful English wheel. And we were really starting to get in our groove.
Okay, so I've been spending most of my days in here. Look at this. We went to IKEA and just picked out like a little desk and a nicer chair and stuff, so I can actually kind of like sit. And yeah, I'm just trying to organize the footage, but it's really interesting. I'm also doing a lot of research about the interior. We have like the best team doing the hull and deck, but I feel like the interior is something that we're still a little bit unsure about. So I've been doing a lot of research about insulation, about what's required, about different materials. Mel made up these amazing renders for us that has actually been helping a lot when you meet people. really amazing to see and to show people like this is the style, or even though it won't look exactly like that, it's still how we want it to look like. It's definitely interesting, and it's something that is coming up pretty fast too. So yeah, we need to figure this thing out pretty soon.
I'm gonna get out and help Kurt and Brian to clean the sheets because the other apprentice isn't here today. I'm gonna be the apprentice.
The reason why the tacks are evenly spaced like that is because when you weld it, you end on a tack. And so the weld starts out kind of cold, and then it moves along, moves along, moves along. And then when you stop it, the metal is still hot. And so if you weld, like end on that tack, you already have a little bit of aluminum there. Because otherwise you end up with like a divot. And so then after it's all tacked, it's been fully welded. So this has been fully welded, and then it's been ground.
You really can't see it, huh?
No, that's the cool thing, right?
She's starting to look like a boat now.
You know what she reminds me of?
What's that?
It's like a 50s era airplane, like one of those old airliners with just the metallic contours mixed with part Batmobile. So what were the goals this week?
So the goals were to get all the plate work on basically up to where the keels are, and we got that in a bit.
Yeah, we're stoked. I mean, she's just looking so cool, and just to see the progress. Once you start putting the plates on, it just goes so freaking fast. It just, I can't wait to see what this week's time lapse looks like. All right, any final parting wise words from Dan the man? Dan the welding man?
Keep it real.
Keep it real. Up next on Delos, we're starting to feel the pressure as deadlines creep up on us. You know, we're coming in a little earlier, we're staying a little bit later, and we might actually start coming in on weekends to make it happen. And the long days finally catch up with me.
I think I hurt my back. In fact, I know I hurt my back.
But the couch can't hold us back. And we take advantage of some time at home to start designing the interior.
The interior has a general layout. That was all we got. So all of that.
I think it's left to the discretion of the builder.
Yeah, since we're the builders, I've just kind of started to realize I'm going to have to go through every single part of the boat and figure out exactly what we want.
I thought today was Wednesday.
No,
No, it's Thursday.
Is it?
You know it is.
Really?
Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
I missed a meeting today?
So it gets a lot more just when you
Oh,
roll
yeah.
it and just
Like
like.
you feel that? That's solid.
Oh yeah.